Coming up on this week's edition of the Met Report, both the men's and women's soccer teams were home for the first round of the RMAC tournament. We tell you how they did.
Also, the political season is coming to an end, and we tell you about everything to pay attention to when voting.
And Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast, and many were affected. We tell you how you can help. This and more coming up on the Met Report. Welcome to this week's edition of the Met Report. I'm Dave Reiser.
And I'm Ben Handbender. We start off with the news that many of you may already be aware of. This past week, Hurricane Sandy struck the eastern seaboard. Brian Shelley provides us the details and how we can help.
Hurricane Sandy made landfall on the East Coast Monday night this week as millions prepared for what has been called a Frankenstorm. The hardest hit areas include large portions of eastern New Jersey and portions of New York's southern coastline. In New York City, buildings collapsed as 85-mile-per-hour winds damaged new construction sites, tore apart older buildings, and ignited a fire that burned over 50 homes. Hurricane-force winds blew inland, tearing down power lines, which caused widespread power outages that affected upwards of 8.5 million Americans and uprooted age-old historic trees in its wake. The death toll has reached 74 people across the United States and is on the rise. According to rescue crews, the most common causes of death were falling trees, drowning by water inhalation, car crashes, and electrocution. Seawater flooded New York's subways, crippling New York City's public transit system in the worst disaster it's seen in its 108-year history. In New Jersey, thousands of homes were destroyed as the state absorbed the brunt of Hurricane Sandy. In the hours following, Sandy dumped over 3 feet of snow in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Kentucky, and Delaware. New England states now face a massive cleanup effort in the following months. New estimates put the damage of Superstorm Sandy at as much as $50 billion. If you would like to make a donation, cash is being accepted at the Red Cross and the AmeriCare websites.
Thank you so much, Brian. The Met Report staff is keeping all the victims in our thoughts and hope, and we hope for a quick recovery.
The food court in the Tivoli Student Union recently got a green makeover. New waste bins that allow for greener alternatives have replaced traditional trash cans. Each waste station has 3 separate bins for specific types of waste. The recycle bin for all things that can be recycled, like plastics, paper, and cardboard. The compost bin is for organic waste that can decompose quickly, like half-eaten sandwiches and leftovers. And the landfill bin is for all other waste that cannot be recycled or composted, like styrofoam or greasy wrappers. The waste bins are a part of the Sustainable Campus program and are paid for by a student fee aimed at making the Auraria campus cleaner, greener, and more sustainable.
Due to recent incidents in past months, there has been a growing number of concerns about student safety on campus. The Auraria Police Department is hosting Safe Campus Night on Thursday, November 8th. Campus security and general student well-being are topics the Auraria Police plan on covering. This meeting will give you a chance to speak to the Campus Police Department about any concerns you may have about security on campus. All 3 schools will be a part of this event, and students, faculty, and staff are encouraged to attend. Safe Campus Night will be held in the Multicultural Lounge at 5 p.m. in the Tivoli Student Union.
It's been described as the universal solvent, and it makes up about 60% of the human body. However, of all the water on Earth, only 0.3% is drinkable. One of the newest programs at Metro is the One World, One Water Center for Urban Water Education and Stewardship. If protecting and preserving the world's water supply sounds like a thing that you're interested in, the Water Studies minor could fit the bill. Courses offered during the upcoming semester include Water Essentials, Intro to Water Law and Administration, and Multicultural Views on Water. The One World, One Water Center will work with several departments here on campus, as well as local and national water organizations, to provide numerous events and seminars that will generate awareness on the politics of the water distribution. Assistant Director Erica Church tells us what being a water steward is all about.
Sure, to have knowledge of Colorado's water, where it comes from, where it goes, to understand supply and demand, to understand that our water is reaching a demand that's unsustainable for the future, and understanding different ways you can conserve water, both at your home, your office, and also talking to other people about water.
To learn more about Colorado policy, there's an event being held this Thursday, November 8th in the Student Success Building, beginning at 5 p.m.
Now, it's that time again, registration time that is. Priority registration began November 1st for seniors and continues through January 7th. Any registration done after January 7th is subject to a $100 late fee. To check the date and time that you are able to register, log into your ConnectU account. Go to My Services and select Registration Permit. The earlier you sign up for classes, the more flexibility you'll be able to have in your class schedule. Any questions can be directed to the Advising Center in the Student Success Building.
So have you already got ahead and registered?
One of the benefits of being a super senior is getting early registration.
That's right, I
Yeah.
already did it.
Absolutely. The basketball season is right around the corner, and our men's basketball team travels up to Fort Collins to take on the Rams.
And Brittany Carter joins us to tell you all the news from the world that is Hollywood.
And you may have heard from the presidential candidates, but we go further in depth about what is going on this political season.
Believe in yourself, realize that anything is possible, keep your eyes on the prize.
When you're at your weakest point, grace can rise up and pull you out.
So I felt like I was filling a void.
Even when I'm faced with difficult situations, I can always find something to smile about.
Little simple ways. I mean, there's really lots of things you can plug into.
Welcome back, Roadrunners. Now, Nina Databoy joins us for our Polytalk segment. Nina?
Thanks, Ben. President Obama and Governor Romney resumed their campaigns yesterday following the devastating superstorm that rocked the East Coast. The candidates each got down to blasting each other's policies. As the hours tick down, let's take a look at what each candidate says they have to offer.
If you could pin Obama's first term down to one key word, it would be reform. Obama took office in the midst of the largest economic recession since the Great Depression. He signed a Recovery Act to get the economy back on track. Did it work? According to the Obama campaign, it helped add back millions of jobs. Obama also acted loudly and proudly about women's right to equal pay.
The first bill I signed was something called the Lilly Ledbetter bill. And that's an example of the kind of advocacy that we need, because women are increasingly the breadwinners in the family.
He also signed the Affordable Care Act. Because of it, Obama says that 3.1 million Americans have more insurance. 3.6 million seniors and Americans with disabilities have insurance. And now, over 17 million kids with pre-existing conditions can't be denied coverage.
That here in America, in the wealthiest nation on earth, no illness or accident should lead to any family's financial ruin.
He ended the war in Iraq and took down some of al-Qaeda's most famous leaders.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
In his second term, President Obama says he plans to keep moving forward on jobs, taxes, energy, education, foreign policy, and healthcare.
Now onto the former governor of Massachusetts, Mitt Romney. He's maintained a close race with President Obama throughout the campaign season. His experience as a CEO and governor holds weight with many Americans. Romney offers a 5-point plan which can be found on his website. The first point is achieving energy independence and boosting the manufacturing industry. His second point includes a new trade policy as well as bringing back jobs from overseas. The next part of Romney's plan focuses on education, both public and higher, as well as better retraining programs for the unemployed. The fourth point hopes to cut the deficit and reduce the size of government. The final portion of his plan would reduce taxes and regulation on small businesses as well as tax reform for all Americans. Romney holds a strong stance against the president's policies and plan for a Secretary of Business.
With 3 million more women in poverty today than when he took office, with 15 more million people on food stamps than when he took office, he's got to find something to suggest it's going to be better over the next 4 years. And so we came up with an idea last week, which is he's going to create the Department of Business. We don't need a Secretary of Business to understand business. We need a president who understands business, and I do. And that's why I'll help be able to get this economy going.
These two candidates are in a close race for those 270 electoral votes, so make sure your vote is in by November 6th. Now, taking a look closer to home, the amendments on the ballot this year, starting with the least controversial Amendment S. This measure, which was introduced to the state legislature earlier this year, would change aspects to the state personnel system. The amendment would implement certain testing methods for job applicants, restrict the number of finalists for government jobs, place limits on hiring temporary workers, and require that applicants be residents of the state of Colorado. While some think this measure could give the governor too much power, others say it will improve customer service for everyone who interacts with the state. Now on to Amendment 65, which is also known as the Colorado Corporate Contributions Amendment. Now, to understand this amendment, let's step back a few years. In 2010, the United States Supreme Court faced a landmark case, Citizens United versus the Federal Election Commission. In that, the court held that the government cannot restrict independent political expenditures by corporations and unions due to First Amendment rights. However, some say that by calling the money a form of free speech, the court is using the First Amendment to bless political corruption. The ballot seeks to charge state lawmakers with furthering the state's policy on the matter and asks congressional delegates to support efforts to overrule the Citizens United decision by amending the U.S. Constitution. Now, arguably the most controversial of them all, Amendment 64. This ballot question looks to, with regulation, legalize marijuana. Amendment 64 would make the personal use, possession, and home growing of marijuana legal for adults 21 years of age and older. It establishes a system in which marijuana is regulated and taxed, similar to alcohol. There are many local officials, including Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, who are against the initiative, stating that smoking marijuana permanently affects brain development, impairs learning ability, and contributes to depression. Now I send it back to the desk for more political coverage. Ben?
Thanks, Nina. Deciding who to vote for can be a complicated decision. This week, 2 political analysts visited Auraria and gave students tips on what to think about when voting for the next president. Paula Ruelas has more.
The presidential election is days away, and there are many issues shaping its outcome. But according to Christine Pelosi and Tammy Bruce, the most important is
jobs. People need jobs.
It's clearly the economy.
Voting for president and the issues they support is an important decision. And while some are decided voters,
on Tuesday I'll be voting for Barack Obama.
I'm actually going to vote for Mitt Romney.
Others are not.
I'm truly undecided.
And for those of you students who are still undecided, Bruce and Pelosi have some advice.
If you agree that 4 years of what we've had is not going to be good enough again, you need to make that choice.
First of all, stand up for your generation. Be the voice of your generation. Young people are on the cusp of greatness.
Voting starts at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, November 6th, so be sure to stop by a voting location and have your voice heard. Paula Ruelas, The Met Report.
Thanks, Paula. And for more information about where the candidates stand on the issues, be sure to visit their websites.
Colorado is one of 7 key swing states that will determine this election. Over $36.8 million has already been spent by the candidates themselves and $3.5 million by PACs on local and state races. It is clear that in Colorado our vote is crucial in shaping the 2012 general election. Denver City and county residents have 3 different options to vote. Vote by mail, vote early, or vote on Election Day. If you requested a mail ballot, you can drop off your ballot at any voter service center, 24-hour ballot drop box, or Election Day polling place. Early voting ends today, Friday, November 2nd, and can be done at any of the 13 voter service centers across the city. In case you do miss these early voting options, Denver will have 149 polling centers open on Tuesday, November 6th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., including Tivoli Room 261. So get out there so you can make your voice heard.